Assalamu alaikum. I thank Allah that my experience as the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Clara Muhammad, my mother, and I would like to say, as the son of the Nation of Islam. For I know that was my parent helping my parents when they couldn't help me the way they wanted to help me. It was that movement, that organization, that helped my parents so I would have the help that I needed. A good place to live, food, protection from things that were harmful, etc. And you're talking about a global village. Up until I was 17 or 18, that's exactly what the Nation of Islam was, a global village. All of those who identified with my father and what he wanted to bring about, they cared about me just like they cared about their own children. And if they saw me in need, they would respond to me just like they would their own child, So that's the time that we remember in the life of the people that belonged to this association when they were called Nation of Islam and now. Yeah. But now the world has changed so I couldn't identify with the white man's world. I couldn't identify with the Christian world, the Christian people, the church. I couldn't identify with them. Because we were living in a time when blacks, African Americans, were discriminated against and didn't have even the government on our side. Some people in the government, certainly, but not the government on our side, to change ugly laws of the South, to make things right for us in the South and in the North. We didn't have that. See, this new time that we live in, it came about recently. But some of us are not aware. Just a few decades ago, we didn't have this. But now we do. We have this new freedom, this new awareness of law favoring equal opportunity for all, regardless to race. And the moral life has been so threatened over the past 30 or 40 years that the good forces have had to quietly work against the evil forces. Couldn't even show their hand, because if they did, they would have been defeated by the evil forces. So they had to work quietly to keep their own strength and fortification secured until the time changed and permitted them to come out with their forces. Times have changed. A new season is in America and in the world. Times have changed. And now they make themselves known. And little Wallace D. Muhammad used to call me WD when I was a boy. Little WD is an international president of one of the biggest organizations working for world peace and justice for all people that you can find on this earth. The World Conference of Religion and Peace. Son of Elijah Muhammad, the little guy who was poor with the rest of the poor in his neighborhood on the south side, where there was a junk yard 2 blocks away, and about 20 small whiskey houses, taverns, stretched along about 2 blocks from us. 1 block from us. Yes, 2 blocks from us on State Street. So whenever I went to the store, that's what I saw. I saw wine heads. I saw bums, both male and female wine heads and bums, and all these liquor stores. And looked like a church for every tavern. A little small storefront church for every tavern in that strip where we had to go because our stores that we had to trade with were on that strip too. That's the neighborhood I remember as a boy, until I was about maybe 9 or 10 years old. We moved to a better neighborhood, but still with the poor, with the poorest of the poor of our kind in Chicago. Now here I am now meeting with these people on this high level. And I'm quite different from well-known preachers and politicians you know, who went to colleges and got degrees. No degree, no college. But here I am, way up there. I know it's God's doing. And it only happened because this is the season for it. This is the season for it. Righteousness is on the rise. Righteousness is on the rise. And I remember I was frightened by the things, developments that I saw, not only in our community, but in this American society. Frightening to me. I said, if we don't battle hard, the forces of corruption going to get us all. We ain't going to be fit to exist on this planet, and Allah going to let us all be destroyed. So I desperately worked hard to call the members of the Nation of Islam, when I was your supreme minister, and later the members of the community that I lead under the new name, to consciousness, and to let you see the frightening things that I saw developing in our society, and that we all were going to be eliminated if we didn't wake up and make some real strong efforts to change things. An awakening time came for us to awaken to the evil forces that were working against the good human life. And I struggled with that, and I preached that, and you supported me enthusiastically, most of you. And now we have survived intact with our life and enjoying this beautiful sunny day, not in California, in the world. Praise be to Allah, it's a wonderful time. If you want to really better your own self, to do more, to make your own life improve and better, stop looking at your immediate small circumstances and thinking that that's all you got going for you. If all I had going for me was that little small one-level house I got in a town where there's an African-American mayor, and the whole town ain't got more than about 70,000 people in it. If that's all I had to look at, I would have no inspiration to do anything. But I see the real picture. I see the big world picture. I see the stage that God has prepared. And it's bigger than all our neighborhoods and all of our troubles that we're looking at. It's the real reality. So perk up. You have to look out beyond your immediate circumstances to live and prosper. There are a few things I want to say to Muslims. Most of what I'm going to say, I'm going to say it to any human being. It's for any decent human person. But mainly to Muslims, yes. Because this is our immediate task, is to to live ourselves in good condition with respect, not only at home but also abroad. That's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted for us. Respect at home and abroad. This religion, Al-Islam, known by the abbreviated or shortened expression Islam. Islam. We have to understand it. We're saying we are Muslims. And we say our religion is Islam. We should understand it. We should know what we're saying we have. So my effort is firstly to help us know what we claim to be our religion better. The great scholar and leader, he was not only a scholar, but he was a community leader from Pakistan. He died several years ago, well, a good while ago now. I met him in the United States when he visited a couple of times, but I met him also on Mount Arafat during the Hajj. But over a decade ago, over 10 years ago. His name is Maulana Maududi. Before I met him, I was aware of him because my father, even when I was a young man, a young minister for my father had a book by Maulana Maududi in his collection of books in his library case. Maulana Maududi said of Islam, he said, it is an ideology and a message revealed by God for the rejuvenation and reform of the global community and its environment. So Islam didn't just come for Wallace. Islam is here from God for the whole world. And if Wallace responds to it and work hard to qualify for its great name, to wear it as a Muslim, then Wallace is going to rise not on 5308 South Wabash, where that bad strip was, not on 6026 Vernon, where field rats were so big the cats backed up. That's where I used to live. Not on 6116 South Michigan, where the house that we lived in and the hen house that the city permitted us to have didn't look too much different. You might walk in the hen house thinking you were going in your own house. Two frame structures, wood frame structures. No, not just for Wallace, who lived in those small places, but for the whole of mankind that occupy the whole world, rich and poor, wise and foolish, is for all of us. Presidents and citizens, common citizens, bankers and beggars, is for all of us, this religion of Islam. So this religion of Islam has already proved that it is for all of those people, because we find presidents of nations saying, I'm a Muslim. And they haven't just started doing that. They've been doing it for the whole time of history of Islam. Presidents of nations, rulers of nations saying, my religion is Islam, I'm a Muslim. Bankers, generals of the army, people responsible for the earth under their feet and for the future of their citizens, saying, I'm a Muslim, my religion is Islam. So this religion pulls us up and lifts us up. We cannot lift this religion up. It's already up, way up, long before America was discovered, long before there was any European or white man on this land. Islam was high up in the sky and reaching down on the earth and pulling up bankers, making them presidents of banks, pulling up soldiers, making them generals of the army, pulling up the student, making him the educator for the whole nation. That's what Islam was doing before even America was occupied by a white man from Europe. So you can't give anything to this religion. This religion has all to give to you. I'm talking to the Muslims. I'm hoping that I will wake you up so you will get better benefit from your religion. You can't get benefit from something that you're not aware of, you don't know the value of. We can give you a Rolls-Royce card to go to work in tomorrow morning. But if you don't respect the value of that Rolls-Royce, you won't get benefit from it. Pretty soon we'll find it impound. Yeah. Or sitting on the wayside. Poor man can't even get the battery charged. This is no joke. This is serious. Spoonful of sugar helped the medicine go down, but the medicine is serious. An ideology for the rejuvenation and reform of the global environment and the whole of mankind. And that is exactly what Islam is. So Islam then is bigger than our life. We have a world to live in that's bigger than the space we need. See how God is? He didn't give you a world that's just big enough for your space you want or need. He gave you a world that's much, much bigger, so many times bigger than the space you need to live in. And it makes us very comfortable, doesn't it? Because we know we can live here for generations and generations, and this world will always have room for us. Yes. I know about population explosion and all that. That's just like weeds growing. Pretty soon the weeder will be coming in. Don't worry. The weeder will be coming soon. And it won't be thick for long. Get ready for it. A new day is coming. And I hope you're not one of the weeds. You'll be gone, buddy, in the incinerator. Up in smoke. Ashes can't be found. Disappeared in the wind. I'm conscious of the high worth or value of my religion, Islam. I'm conscious of that. And that motivates me to improve my own personal value so that I am not a discredit to this great name I wear. I don't want to misrepresent and be discredit to this great name I wear. This great name I wear is a motivation for me to improve my own personal worth and value. Can you see it the same way? If you can, then do more about your own life. Put your own personal life in better condition. Keep improving your own personal value. Muhammad the Prophet said, the obligation to acquire knowledge is on a Muslim from the cradle to the grave. From the cradle to the grave. That's what he said. So don't buy the defeatist spirit of this world. Well, I'm too old now. Oh, yeah, well, I used to be pretty good in school. You were never out of school. The universe is your school. God created earth, life, the sky, weather, everything to provoke our intelligence, to signal our intelligence, messages to our intelligence, and make us think and make us want to know more, make us register more, make us record more from the universe for the growth of our own personal minds, plus this wonderful work of civilization to bring about more literacy, and more education in the masses, in the public. You have all that going for you. Television has problems, but it's a great educator. So many educational programs on it, straight from God's created world, the natural world in its nature, and also from fine institutions like we find out here in California, Stanford and others. You can't get the full benefit of your own life that God wants for you if you're not even conscious that you have circumstances favoring you growing and becoming more successful. So be conscious. Don't be just conscious of that you're black and white's got more than you. Be conscious of that you're a human and God wants for you what he wants for white folks. Be conscious of that. Oh, I think I heard an old-timer speak out there. Yeah, Allah won't hellfire for the white devil. Well, why didn't Donald Elijah Muhammad, just a very few, 1 or 2 years before he passed, turn around and look at the guests he had on the platform with him and point to a white man and say to us, that's a white man. That's a white man, he said, in his house, sitting with the dignitaries at the convention, Savior's Day convention. So that's a white man, saying he's a Muslim scientist. That's what he told us. And I believe it was that same speech, it was the one that came next year. He said, I tell you this from the bottom of my heart. He didn't speak that way to us. I never heard Donald Elijah Muhammad preach. I heard him. I preached. I was a little boy. I'm his son. I listened to what he say. I never heard him say to us, I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. He wanted to reach us. He was desperately trying to reach us, to change our thinking and our spirit so that when he died, we would be prepared to go on living and not die with him. He said, I tell you this from the bottom of my heart. If the white man can change and respect you, then you do likewise. That's what he said. So don't blame that on my father. Don't blame your inability to move forward on my father. He desperately worked before he died to free us so we can move forward, continue to progress, go forward with our lives in America after he's gone. And God reward him for his good work and his sacrifices, for his masterful planning and obedience to his master. Master Farad, he called him. May God reward him for that with the paradise. Amen. God says to us in this religion, he says, enter peace. And this is a special peace called Silma, from Salama, peace. To give peace, or to greet peace, Salama. Enter peace, wholly, with your whole self. With your whole self. Let us think on this for just a moment. Enter into peace with your whole self. What does this have reference to? There are people who want peace, but they don't want to let go hell. They want peace, but they hold on to a piece of hell, too. I want peace, but I can't go. I want this too. I want this piece of hell I got in my hand. I want these drugs. I want this lottery. I want this gambling. I want this liquor. I want this prostitution. I want this adultery. I want this fornication. I want this masturbation going on to no end. I want to dissipate my life. But God, please give me peace. God said, you want peace? Enter into peace with your whole self. And then you're following the way of Abraham, the upright in faith, the upright in his nature, the upright in faith. Said Abraham came to God and he presented him his whole self, himself in its entirety. His whole self, he presented to God. He gave it to God. And we are both supposed to be following the way of Abraham. The order of Abraham, the upright in his nature, the faithful one. Okay. And of Prophet Muhammad, God says, he's a mercy to all the worlds. Rahmatan lil alameen, a mercy to all the worlds. Not just to Muslims, but to all the worlds, Muhammad. And history bear witness that the change brought about in the world because of Muhammad's leadership as a servant and messenger of God opened the way for the revival of the human intellect and intellectual pursuits. Real liberty, real true liberty was given a new shot in the arm, and the whole world has benefited from Muhammad the Prophet's leadership and his many scholars that was produced under his leadership in the many sciences, medicine, astronomy, navigation, everything. Travel on the high seas, everything was embraced by the brains that were produced under Muhammad the Prophet, citizen of Mecca and Arabia, who was rejected by his own country, by his own city. They tried to deprive him of the freedom to do the great work that God revealed for him to do. And God gave him a boost. God revealed for them to hear and to Muhammad. Say, Muhammad, tell them, say, I'm a free man in this town. Speaking of Mecca, his own hometown. And they put him out. But it was proven that he was a free man. Came back in and gave them mercy, showed mercy to them. Say, if you will just accept it to live at peace, and not undermine the peace, you have no fear for your life or your property. And he said, let there be no more blood spilling, no more fighting. So he showed them mercy. That's the history of our religion. This is our religion that we claim I'm talking about. Muhammad, the prophet, was an Arab. Arab, that's how they pronounce it. Arab is English pronunciation. He was an Arab. Born in the city of Mecca, the blessed, holy, sacred city of Mecca. When he formed the leadership, he didn't just have Arabs around him representing the leaders. He had Persian, looking like white folks. He had African, Bilal, his companion Bilal. These were all his number one companions, like Jesus Christ's disciples. Peace be upon Jesus Christ and the prophets. he had his companions who were like disciples. In fact, we could say they were his disciples, the same. They were for him as Jesus Christ's disciples were for Jesus Christ. Peace be upon the prophets. And they were Arab, they were Persian, they were African, and Salman was the Persian. And the record says that he was white-skinned, he was white. So here is a man that God chose for the world, not for his race. He was missioned to be a mercy to the world, not just to his race. And he demonstrated that by selecting or accepting that the leaders closest to him represents the colors of the human race, not Arab or one race, but the human race, the family of mankind. Black, brown, and white was in his staff, in his immediate staff of people. We say we are his followers. We are in America. Should we be trying to keep this leadership 100% black? If we do, we're not following Muhammad's way. We live in a country that's mostly not black. So if we're going to live in this country and make progress in this country, we should demonstrate to this country, to the American people, that we are not hung up on race. We should demonstrate that we truly follow Muhammad the prophet, the servant and messenger of God, the seal of the prophets, the last of them. When we do that, we show the unity of mankind. And we defend ourselves, we protect ourselves from being charged with racism. Racism is not permitted in this religion. It's too far from the nature and beauty of this religion to have any closeness to the important works of this society. No, we must abandon it. We must put it on the outskirts of our life and activities and not permit it to come into our borders. Racism. Racism is for the devil, not for us. Let the devil have racism. He wants to divide the races to weaken the family of mankind, to set it against itself. We ain't going to help him. We're going to defeat him. And we are making great progress. You have a mission to do more than stand up as a black man. You have a mission to stand up as a universal man and establish a model of human life on this society.
In a world defined by faith and transformation.
We trust God. We are going forward with God, with the Quran and Muhammad, and we don't fear the criticism of any criticizer.
One man would emerge, bridging the gap between tradition and a new era. Bait Cow Films and Muslim News Magazine presents Changing a Nation, the legacy of Imam W.D. Muhammad.
We are Muslims with a mission, and that mission is to teach, practice, live Islam.
Well, as Muslims in America, he is unequal.
Imam Muhammad opened up our minds.
I remember when he first came out and he would begin to teach.
There is an unspoken message that will never reach a white man because he's not black. but it certainly will reach a black man that was once the slave of white world.
A visionary leader who broke barriers.
All Americans can appreciate and love you if you just follow Islam.
His legacy echoes through the corridors of time. Changing a nation, the legacy of Imam W. Deen Muhammad.